Well, hello there, sweet soul. If you found your way to this video, I want you to know right off the bat, this space right here, it was made just for you. Whether it happened when you were little or later in life, being abandoned by a parent leaves a scar that most folks don't talk about enough. But it's real, it's deep, and it matters. Today, we're going to talk through it gently, honestly, with love and grace. And by the end, my hope is you'll feel seen, soothed, and a little more whole. Let's begin. You know, one of the hardest truths about abandonment is that it can feel like rejection of who you are. When a parent walks away, physically or emotionally, it sends a silent message. You weren't enough to stay for. But let me stop you right there, honey. That message, it is a lie. The way someone loves or doesn't love you often says more about them than it ever says about you. Maybe they were broken. Maybe they didn't know how to love. Maybe they left because of fear, selfishness, addiction, or pain they never healed. None of that is your fault. None of that is your burden. I was abandoned as a child, and it really affected me. Even to this day, still affects me. That's actually why I wanted to make this video. My father was out of our lives, all our lives. And my story is, it was heartbreaking. I never felt loved. I still to this day go in and out of not feeling loved. And it is hard because you know that it wasn't your fault, but you still feel like if only I was this, they would have stayed around. You know, my mom divorced him, my father, and he just never came around. And it was sad, as I got older, I then reached out to him. I reached out to family through the internet. This was when the internet first started really having it to where people's personal stuff was online. And there was actually a tree. Somebody had made a family tree, and I found him on one of those family trees. And I called the person that orchestrated this family tree, and she happened to be my aunt. So that I did not know. And so I contacted her, and what's wild is within, I think it was 15 minutes, I was talking to my dad, and it healed so many wounds from my past, and was probably the best thing I ever did. Now, that's not always everybody's story, but it was personally mine. Now, I also had some negative things, and, that were hard for me to wrap my head around, but it was also, that's a story for another time, truthfully. But I did go through that abandonment and still have abandonment issues in my relationships. So I just want you to know that I'm not just making this video just to make it, just to throw out another video. No, I actually feel this video. All my videos I feel, but this one has affected me all my life. But one thing that I have realized is that it's not just about the absence, it's the emptiness that lingers. That ache when you see other people's happy family photos. Oh, it is really painful to go through, to see all these happy families, and you came from a broken one, one that half of your, mother-father duo is gone. And the questions that rise up are like, was I not lovable? Wasn't I worth fighting for? And sometimes the shame sneaks in as if you had anything to be ashamed of. I remember many nights, especially as a teenager, was the worst. And I would lie awake and I would just cry out and just be like, why? Why am I not lovable enough? Why can't you love me enough to be in my life? I had nobody to tell that to, that I thought, but I still was heartbroken about it. So I want to say this slow and clear. Your parents' absence does not define your worth. You are lovable. You are wanted. You are not alone in this. Healing this kind of wound isn't about pretending it didn't hurt. It'll hurt for the rest of your life. Now, the amount of hurt will change. That's the good part. I can look back on my hurt, and I used to be devastated. I would go in and out of bad relationships. I would make bad decisions with my children. I would make bad decisions with friends. And now I am much stronger and much more centered, that I make more positive decisions. Now, I'll slip up every once in a while. I am human. We make mistakes. But I recognize those mistakes and I learn from them and I grow. It's about giving that little version of yourself the love they didn't get or give. It's about saying, I see you. I'm here now and I'll never abandon you. Sometimes that means therapy. Sometimes it means journaling, prayer, or long walks with your hand on your heart. Things that have helped me are like hiking, and I'll listen to books on Audible. Or I will journal to get words out, to get the frustration out of my soul and onto paper. And it does help a lot because you feel like you're pulling it out of yourself and kind of laying it down, and you either crumple it up and throw it away or you tuck it away, and you can look back on your thoughts and be like, wow, I can't believe I felt like that. I don't feel like that anymore. Thank God. Now, I did actually do therapy. I just was thinking I never did therapy. I did do therapy for a year, but that therapy was not for the abandonment of my father. It was for physical and mental abuse from my first marriage. But I can tell you this, though therapy was like, I hated every moment of it. Every moment I hated it. But after, when it was all done, I felt like a new person. Now, was I completely healed? Absolutely not. I made so many foolish mistakes even after that. I can look back and be like, oh my gosh, I needed more therapy is what I needed. So it is definitely helpful. Sometimes it's crying in the car and letting that pain out so it doesn't stay locked inside. Anytime you ever feel the need to cry, find yourself a quiet place and cry. It's okay. It's getting out that, it's almost like a poison and you got to squeeze it out of you. Healing takes time, but it is possible, and it is so worth it. But like I said, healing does not mean that you're just magically this new person who has this feeling in your soul that you've never been hurt before in your entire life. I wish that was the case. I wish. But it's just not. But the pain from your past just gets a little less painful as time goes on, and it keeps going, especially when you nurture it. Now, breathe with me, slow and easy in, and relax it out. And repeat after me if you can. I am healing from what I didn't receive. I was always worthy of love. I am not broken, I am becoming. I release the shame that was never mine to carry. I surround myself with people who choose me. I am allowed to create the family I deserve. I forgive myself for believing their absence meant something about me. I am safe now. I am seen. I am loved. Now, whether you believe in God, the universe, your higher self, or just the quiet whisper of hope, you can trust that you were never truly abandoned. There's a love holding you even when the ones you should have didn't. There's a purpose in your pain, and there's power in your healing. You are building a new legacy, one safety, one of love, one where you get to be the kind of parent, friend, or soul you wish you had. And I'm going to tell you a little technique that I've used throughout the years that I don't know where I found it or where somebody recommended it, but it is very, very impactful and healing. And that is, imagine yourself walking up to yourself as a child, the most painful part of your life as a child. Remember that moment. I want you to walk up to yourself and you give yourself a big hug and you tell yourself, everything's going to be okay. Don't you worry. I'm here to protect you. You are loved and safe. And you just do this every time you feel like you were not loved as a child, or you do not feel, or you felt abandoned, as an adult as well. think back and go back to painful moments and their memories. Go back and give your childlike person a hug. Look them in the eyes and just let them know how safe they are and how everything is turning out wonderful. You know, like I told you, I didn't grow up with my daddy in my life. He was out there somewhere, living his life, making his choices, and I was here, a little girl wondering why I didn't matter enough. I remember birthdays that felt like any other day. School plays, report cards, big moments. I'd look at the crowd hoping maybe, just maybe, this time he'd come. But he never did. And when I got older, I stopped looking. But that ache, it didn't go away. It just got quieter, buried under other things. I didn't actually meet my dad, like I told you, until I was in my late 20s. I was about 28 when I did reach out on the internet, and we actually did meet in person because he lived a couple states away. And he came up, one of my aunts, one of his sisters, brought him up and we met. And thank God we did, because it wasn't but, I think it was a year later that he passed away from a stroke. So that's not always everybody's story, but that was my story, part of my story. And even then, it was complicated. You know, you spend so many years imagining what it might have been like, and then reality comes, and it's not the fairy tale you hoped for. It hurts in a way that's hard to explain. You mourn something that never even had the chance to exist. That's the thing about abandonment. It's not about who left. It's about all the things they missed. They missed the scraped knees and bedtime stories, the teenage tears and graduation. They missed you becoming who you are. And it actually probably changed your choices as a teenager, child, or young adult, that you would have made different choices had you not felt like, well, what's the point? What's the point? Nobody loves me. I'm not special. But it does matter. They missed you becoming who you are. And what's cruel is how that absence can make us believe we were somehow unworthy. But let me tell you something, and I need you to hear it like it's being whispered straight into your soul. Their absence says nothing about your value. Your heart was never too much. Your needs were never too big. And you didn't do a single thing to deserve that pain. You know what stays with us? The wondering. Why didn't they want me? Was I not good enough? Would they have loved me if I looked different, acted different, done more? Ooh, those thoughts will eat you alive if you let them. And it'll go even into your love life, your friendships, your children's lives of, do they love me? Am I doing enough to be loved? They could just all abandon me. I still struggle with this. But the truth is, sometimes people leave, not because of you, but because they didn't have the tools to stay. Some parents don't know how to love because they were never taught. Some are selfish, some are scared, and some just aren't ready to face the truth of what they walked away from. But listen close. You are allowed to grieve them, and you are also allowed to stop waiting for them. There is something bigger than abandonment watching over you. You are not forgotten. I believe there's a reason you're still here. You were born to be loved, chosen, and cherished, first by yourself, then by the ones who truly see your light. And baby, that light still shines, even with the pain, even with the past, especially with the healing. If this touched your heart, I hope you'll come back to it anytime you need reminding that you matter. I'm proud of how far you've come. You didn't have your parent, but you are becoming the kind of person who would never walk away from someone they love. And that's legacy. That's growth. That's love rewriting the story. Till next time, take care of your sweet self.